We're here with Deb Zeller of Zeller Studio right here in Hopkins. Deb has been an ArtStreet participant in the past. You might remember the Goddess of the Grapes, quite popular. Now installed in front of her studio on the 1400 block of Hopkins. Deb, this sculpture is titled Rooted in Tomorrow. Can you tell us a bit about the inspiration?
This sculpture was created for Land O'Lakes for their 100th anniversary. So during the pandemic, a representative from Land O'Lakes came and met me at the studio, saw the Goddess of the Grapes in front of my studio, and we chatted a bit with our masks on. And about a month later, I got the call that I had been chosen as the sculptor to create their 100-year sculpture. They had an idea of what they wanted. They wanted a grandfather farmer strolling down the lane, holding hands with a grandchild.
Yeah.
So I start thinking about this. My dad was a Land O'Lakes dairy farmer, so I asked him, could I sculpt my dad? I'll send you pictures of him. I think he was a good-looking guy. So I sent them pictures, and they said, sure, that'll be fine. And then I got thinking some more. It's like, well, I was my dad's little helper in the barn, and now my nieces are helping, and it would be really fun if the grandchild could be a granddaughter. So I called them back again and said, can the grandchild be a granddaughter? And they went, well, our CEO is a woman. I don't know why not. I think it should be a granddaughter.
Awesome.
So that is the inspiration behind this piece.
Wow. And it's cast bronze.
Cast bronze.
Can you tell us about the process? Do you start with drawings or a maquette, a study model?
You got it all right.
Yeah.
First, I did drawings and got the approval of Land O'Lakes on the drawings.
Sure.
Once I had the drawings done, and I had details like, instead of the grandchild and the grandfather going hand in hand, I thought it would be more compelling if the little girl was grabbing his little finger and saying, hey, Grandpa, look at this, and pointing to the future. It's like, hey, Grandpa,
Awesome.
Look.
Awesome.
So once the drawing was approved, I made a maquette. It was 12 inches tall, made out of clay, with an aluminum wire armature inside of it. And one comment they had on the drawing was, now make sure the grandfather looks like a grandfather. He doesn't look real old. He needs to look a little older. So I made him significantly older in the sculpture.
Awesome.
And they go, oh, you know, he should be a grandpa that can throw bales in his 90s. I go, okay. So we made him a little bit younger again.
Awesome.
But that is the beauty of working with drawings and maquettes with your client, because you can figure out exactly what they want before you make the big one.
Awesome.
A big one like this typically takes a full year. But I had 9 months because it was their 100th anniversary.
Wow.
So maybe the beauty of the pandemic is there was nothing else to do. So every day, I worked all day long on creating this sculpture.
Marvelous.
Inside of the original was a pipe armature, and around the pipe armature was carved polystyrene. The reason you do that is in clay, this would have been over 1,000 pounds of clay if it were solid, and that's just too much clay. You can't move it around safely. So with the pipes and the polystyrene inside, it's actually not that heavy. It's just a skin of clay over the polystyrene. So once that was created, representatives from Land O'Lakes came out with their masks on to see the sculpture and approved it.
Yeah.
Then people from the foundry in Howard Lake, Minnesota came and picked it up, created a mold off of my clay, poured a wax into the mold. I came out and did the wax work to make sure that all the details were right.
Fine tuning.
Fine tuning. putting the little loops back on her boots because those were not part of the mold. They were too complex.
Sure.
And then it was cast, and it was cast in well over 20 pieces.
Wow.
So all of those pieces had to be welded back together, metal finished, sandblasted, and then finally we could put the patina on it.
Wow. Awesome.
And it is mounted on a stainless steel plate, so it can be permanently installed someday. And at that point, you'll notice they are an inch off of the plate. That's so we can put P-rock underneath,
Sure.
and it looks like they're just walking right
Oh, sure.
in the P-rock.
Yeah.
But for now, they're standing an inch off of the steel.
They're floating on air.
They're floating on air.
Well, we're fortunate to have it with us in our community for this year. Thank you so much for sharing it with us, Deb.
My pleasure, Jim. Thank you.